Hello, one and all. This is my review of My Hero Academia, Chapter 299, Like Those Tragic Tales. In this chapter, just Jesus freaking Christ, this chapter. I mean, first off, it showed that Hawks is one of the most well-written characters this entire series. And secondly, it just showed how freaking adorable Chibi Hawks is. I mean, seriously, look at that smile. Does that look like the smile of a kid who's going to grow up to be a government assassin? I mean, yeah, kind of, now that we know his backstory. And it is definitely an interesting backstory. I mean, we can see even, from way, way back when he was just a kid, he was still a hero at his heart. When his father starts yelling at him for sneaking out and going to town, he comes with his lie saying, oh, I just went a little close, nobody saw me, it was fine, don't worry about it. When we actually learn later on in the chapter that his mother took him to town, to the mall, to buy him the Endeavor doll. He comes up with his lie not just to defend himself, but to defend his mother from the brunt of his father's abuse and anger. And, that really goes back to what we saw in the very first chapter of the series, where All Might said, true heroes, they immediately, instinctively go to protect other people. That's what Hawks is doing here. And I just freaking love that. Also learned a little bit more about Hawks' parents and their quirks. Seems like his father had wings in his arms, and his mother had eyeballs that could float around her, which I guess she used to help him plan his crimes, more or less. I mean, I'd call her his accomplice, but at the same time, it's very obvious she is a victim of his, physical, mental, emotional, psychological abuse. So, curious, I'm not really sure if I'm supposed to like her or not. I mean, clearly she's just, very, very broken. That abuse, though, is part of the reason why he ended up saving those people down the road when their cars crashed, because he wanted to be useful. He was told again and again that he was just in the way, that he was a nuisance, there was no purpose to him. So he wanted to make a purpose for himself. He wanted to be a hero like Endeavor, like the hero who saved him and his mother from his abusive father. And so he stepped in and saved the day. And he does make a very interesting comparison to Twice here, saying he was just desperate to be helpful. And that's, exactly who Hawks was. He wanted to be helpful. He wanted to help people somehow, some way. And I think there could definitely be like an alternate timeline where Hawks' father wasn't arrested and eventually, ends up taking him on the jobs, taking him on the crimes he commits with him. Because, with Hawks' feathers, with the quirk he had, it would have been very, very easy for him to commit a whole bunch of crimes. And I think he would have done it back then simply because, he wanted the approval. He wanted to be told that he was helpful, that his life had meaning, had purpose. What's even more interesting, though, is the comparison that could be made between Hawks and Dobby. I mean, Hawks was raised in an environment with an abusive, angry father and a mother who was broken by that abuse. That's literally Dobby's backstory. That's literally the story of Endeavor and his wife, of Dobby's father and mother, of the environment that turned Dobby into who he is. So there could definitely have been a case, definitely been a story where Hawks became a villain. I would have absolutely freaking loved to see that. But it also just shows why he was so desperate to do what he does, why he was so desperate to actually kill Twice, because, he needs to be helpful, he needs to protect people. That's the only way he feels his own life has any meaning, has any value. It's just so sad and so perfect and so amazing. Seriously, Hawks is this amazing combination of Dobby and Twice and Deku all rolled into one, and I freaking love it! Anyway, then Hawks goes check on his mother, and she is long gone. Apparently, after Dobby sent men to go threaten her to reveal the truth about her family, she ran away because she couldn't, bear the shame of looking at her son anymore after betraying him like that, which, I'm still very conflicted again. She's a victim of abuse, but at the same time, that was like 20 years ago. I feel like throughout that time, she could have gotten the therapy and help she needed to overcome that, so I don't know. I'm very, very conflicted about her. Though Hawks takes on a very interesting interpretation of this, basically saying, it's kind of his own fault for not being there to save her when she needed him. But at the same time, also saying it's a relief because now he's free from her, from his family, even from the safety commission, which is completely shut down. As he said, he is now free of his shackles. He can do whatever he wants without anything tying him down anymore, which definitely feels like a death flag, but we'll see about that. And his next step is to go save Endeavor, which is interesting. I mean, really, really interesting. Because as I said, Hawks is basically Dobby. He went through the exact same, or rather similar upbringing as Dobby did. He should understand, exactly how awful a person Endeavor was, but at the same time, he acknowledges, he's seen growth between Endeavor and his son Shoto, so he knows that Endeavor has become a better person, that he's overcome the sins and mistakes of his past and trying to work to become a better person, which is so weird. I mean, Endeavor, is still Hawks' hero, and I so want to see next chapter where Hawks actually says that, where he tells Endeavor, you've always been my hero ever since you arrested my father. And though I do just have to take a moment to talk about how the only reason he had the Endeavor doll was because it was 6 times cheaper than the All Might doll. Oh god, poor Endeavor. I mean, really, poor Endeavor. Oh, I love that, though. And now that he's gotten to know his hero, truly meet him and experience him and, even steal the skeletons in his closet, he still wants to defend him. He still wants to be on his side because Endeavor saved him when he needed him the most. And now he's, here to do the same thing for Endeavor. And I just cannot freaking wait to see that. Then we get this absolutely great scene of Best Genius taking down villains. And what's really interesting is what comes next. Basically, they're told there are no heroes in this area because, the cops are all busy with the escaped prisoners, and the heroes who were there got so much criticism, got so much hate, they basically had to close shop and skip town. So there is no one here to protect this town, and we even see this one guy in the background say, who needs heroes anyway? And you can see some sort of contraption on his arm. I'm guessing that's something made by, Redestro's company as a means of self-defense. A means of allowing people to defend themselves. That's what's happening. That was Redestro's whole plan, We're going to have this huge terrorist attack, and that way people have to, come up and defend themselves, protect themselves. And I'll tell them, hey, we actually can defend ourselves because we all have freaking superpowers. Yay! So his plan is basically to be a hero for himself, to protect his town with his own two hands. And then this shot we get next is so amazing. I mean, we still see people so excited, so happy, light in their eyes to see Hero, to see Best Genius, who is essentially the #1 hero in all of Japan at this moment, at work. But at the same time, we also see other people whose eyes are dead, people who have lost their faith in heroes and hero society as a whole. Oh god, I just love the mix between them. I mean, if it was just these deadpan people, it would have been okay, but the mix between it, seeing the happy and the dark at the same time, is just so freaking amazing, and I love it. Something I didn't love, though, was the dialogue between Best Genius and Hawks as they're driving to Hawks' mother's place, as they basically explain how Best Genius was put into a death-like state, inspired by the Nomu. I mean, it just feels such like monologuing, such like an info dump, and just rigid, so rigid. I really did not like that dialogue. I mean, I'm glad they explained it, but at the same time, I feel like that would have been explained so much better with, a one-page flashback showing what happens. Oh well. So yeah, that was my thoughts on the chapter. I am still thinking that we might see Hawks' father again, given that all the prisoners have, essentially been let out of the prisons. There's a fairly good chance that Hawks' father is, roaming free right now. He might end up running into him down the road. That'd be a lot of fun to see. But I don't think next chapter is actually going to focus on Hawks, even, after the ending, given that next chapter is chapter 300. I feel like that's going to be a Deku chapter. We're going to see Deku in the quirk realm, talking to the past users, getting some sort of glimpse about how they use their quirks, about who All For One really is, about what it is that he's really planning, all of that. Maybe we'll even get a chance to see, the big epic fight between All Might and All For One that's been hinted at and teased so many times throughout the series. Chance to finally see the ultimate battle between All Might and All For One would be so freaking amazing. I'd love that. But yeah, let me know else down below. What do you think of Hawks as a character? What do you think of his backstory now? Do you think we're ever going to see his mother or father again? What's his plan to go save Endeavor? What's he going to say to Endeavor? Like I said before, I really, truly want him to say, Endeavor, you were always my hero. That would just be such a freaking amazing moment. And what do you think of Chibi Hawks? I think he looks so freaking adorable. I loved it. But let me know what you think about all that down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. See you next video. And until then, peace!